Have you ever wanted to say something to someone and have them say something back? Welcome to Candid Conversations. Let's chat. All right, ladies and gentlemen, yes, let's chat on episode 209 of Candid Conversations. We have two of Niagara's powerhouses in the music or the entertainment industry, Todd Brown and Dave Grant here. So let's get into conversations with about like what's going on, like the latest from the soon to be greatest, or from some of the greatest actually.
Well, Powerhouse, thank you.
No
Man, I feel my ego just got a lot bigger. Thank you. I don't know if we're the Powerhouses, but we're doing the best that we can out here.
Well, some of the things I've seen you guys do in the last 12 years that I've been on here, yeah, those are very influential to the way Niagara is seen as an entertainment entity. So I have to give roses where they're due.
Thank you.
No problem. Not quite.
I thought we were on the wrong show, right?
Oh, man, that's great. So yeah, everybody brought their sense of humor today. That makes it a lot easier. Where to start? Where to start? I know I met you at the Niagara Music Awards. Actually, the first one I went to, what was the 10th edition?
I'm not sure which one was the first one you went to.
It was not. It was 10. I think it was Niagara Music Awards 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
when you were
that was about 4 years. Where was the venue?
The venue was across the street from the Lundy's Lane Memorial
Church. At the church.
At the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a big theatric. And then the last one I remember going to was at the Scotias. Right?
Yeah, we went from there to, it's been growing pretty quickly. So we went from there to the convention center.
Yes.
And they took good care of us as well. Every venue that we've been in, we've been very lucky. I don't know. I took over in year 5. Yeah, year 5.
Okay.
We did it at, I don't know if you know the high school on Epworth Circle.
Okay.
So just to give you an idea, a little story about our humble beginnings. So it's a high school and it's on a circle.
Yeah.
And so we had no budget, not that it's much more now, but zero budget.
Yeah.
So we had a limo company come and we had everybody park at the back of the circle. Yeah. And then every single nominee got in the limo and it drove them around to the front and dropped them off. And they walked the red carpet and then they went around and picked up the next one and brought them. And went around and brought them. And it was amazing. And it looked great for the media. And it was a great little thing for all of the artists, of course, because it's their night, right?
Yeah.
And we want them to feel like celebrities because they are celebrities here in Niagara. And a lot of them even make a living doing this. And some of them even go on to become celebrities outside of Niagara, many of them.
Yeah, like Canada's Got Talent for real. And that's not just a plug for the show, that was happening at the OG stage. So what would you say, and I do notice that it's very artist oriented, what would you say is the most rewarding part about finishing the production?
Do you want to talk about production, Dave?
You can go ahead. I don't know.
Most rewarding, I think it's for me, a lot of people ask me why I'm involved because it's a nonprofit. We don't make any money. In fact, my company usually loses money getting involved in this. But it's a great way to give back to the community, right? Okay. So for me, I just think artists are real. I think they're absolutely pure. They're putting themselves out there real and raw to the world. Yeah. And I think more and more we get less and less of that in our day-to-day life, where everything seems to have a screen or a filter or an agenda. And I just love that they're real and raw. And I like to be that way myself. I don't, as people know, I'll give you some vaccine here. We didn't practice any of this or have any questions emailed to us through our assistants or anything like that, right? So I think real and raw is the way to be. I think that genuineness is something that we're all seeking right now. Yeah. And the local artists and the people that become famous, we know lots of them now because of our associations, and they're those same real raw artists that they were when they were trying to make it as they are now. They just happen to be famous.
That's awesome. That's awesome when they can maintain the character to match their skill set. That's important. Okay.
Dave does a lot of the production and handles a lot of the production side of things.
Okay.
So, comments about that?
Yeah.
Well, I think with the event itself, when you're looking at what we kind of get out of it at the end, obviously the goal is to have an amazing show.
Okay.
At the end of it too, it's an opportunity for everyone to come together. And so this event also leverages potential with other artists working together, right?
True.
And nowadays, in the age of social media and whatnot, the chance of connecting and actually meeting with people either at the event or after the event can potentially look into something of people going with their own, a new band member, a new song, a new opportunity, right? And I think it's, using the mentality of being at the right place at the right time. And as we continue to grow, we're trying to bring in more of the bigger artists as well as music management from North America to Niagara to give them that opportunity.
So there's a lot that comes out of it when you're looking at it, and there is a misconception that it's just I don't want to say gumdrops and rainbows, but I did, so we'll run with it. That everything's easy, that like people just have money to throw at it. So like to get the ball rolling, what is not the incentive, but what is the challenge to get that whole process started to start the production?
How long is the show?
Well, I think we gotta go to commercial break in a second, but we can start the conversation.
The challenges are ever mounting. So, I mean, you have to obviously bring the eyeballs to the artist. That's really probably the biggest challenge. So it's a matter of reaching out. Like we've sort of set an agenda that together we accomplish more. So we use that as our baseline. And then we go out and we have conversations with the community. And there's influencers in the community, obviously in different genres specifically. So we go and we talk to the people that are involved in the punk rock and the people that are involved in the hip hop and the people that are involved in the jazz side of things. And we try to bring them all together. And we think that if we bring all the eyeballs to one location, then they're going to go from there to find what they're looking for anyway. So together we're able to accomplish that. And then when you've been to the event, you've seen all these people in the same room, which is pretty crazy too. To have the hip hoppers and the punk rockers and the rockers and the jazz people and the country people, it's pretty incredible.
It is like to see that many creative minds in one space and that much diversity. It's really like, I mean, we could talk about the Wild Wasted who shows up in like. I just saw Morgan at the the Zombie Walk the other day, actually. Yeah, to see the likes of him, and then like you go to like a Pluto Han who also has his own out there style, but it's more dark, and then you got like a Johnny Armani who's like he's got his rambunctious energy that goes with his flow. It's interesting to see so many different characters, we'll say, in the one room, and you guys do make that possible. We will get back to that shortly after this break. One. Okay, so we are back with Todd Brown and Dave Grant. I don't want to say just from the Niagara Music Awards, but you mentioned that you have your own business and you also have your own endeavors as well. So let's talk about that for a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I mean, we're not here to plug our business, but I mean, we can talk about other types of entertainment that we're involved in.
All right.
So we have been pushing for the region and the cities to have a Music City. There's an official stamp that the city can receive, and Niagara Falls has recently received that accreditation. So that's a very exciting time. So you're going to see and hear a lot more about Music City here in the region. And we're partnering with them to bring the Niagara Music Awards back this season. So we're going to be hosting that in March. And most recently, we've spent a lot of time in Nashville. And Dave has some great connections that we've been able to work with that are going to bring some bigger names to Niagara. And some people out there might have heard of the guy Jelly Roll, who recently came to St. Catharines, and that was Dave Grand initiative. So I'll let him speak about that.
Yes, please do, because I've been a fan of some of his music. I've seen his work. I've heard a lot of people talk about him, and like one thing that I never thought I'd hear when I first saw his music, because of the, I don't want to say the lore that goes with him, is Jelly Roll in Niagara. So when I saw that, I was like, who made this possible and how did they do it? So
Well, yeah, for me, I've always, I jumped on board with music awards a couple years ago, and I'm a big fan of music. I think that eventually I'd like to continue to bring these big concerts to help, the up and comers or the people from locally, maybe to have that opportunity to be potentially opening for some of these people down the road. It gives them a shot of, and so I mean, I think as Niagara's growing and there's some new venues popping up, different large properties, that there's some potential to be in the same zone as a Toronto or London, where you can utilize these people, cross-border entertainment to be able to, you don't have to go to Toronto to be able to, attend some of these concerts. And I think, depending on, obviously the numbers need to make sense and whatnot, but I think Niagara, you're going to see is going to, aside from OLG Stage and what the casino does and the other groups, you're going to see more of this happen. And that's also my objective, try and kind of bring in new talent that hasn't been to Niagara or Hamilton or Toronto.
So Nashville North.
yeah.
That's what we're trying to accomplish.
All right, and even touching base on that, I mean, like venues like Moose and Goose in Thorold.
Yeah.
That's a very good venue. I personally was able to open for Lloyd Banks there, and the turnout was amazing. So, like, to get some of those bigger names that you're saying up here is a push, but I like to see some of them. So, more power to you and what you're doing. You know what I mean?
Well, and the interest is there.
Yeah.
People want it, and as a people want stuff to do.
Yeah.
and if you have the drive of the ticket sales and the interest, that also all helps come together as one to be able to put on these events.
And there's a lot of economy moving in the same direction right now. So you have people not only moving to Niagara,
Yes.
but you also have people that, for whatever the reasons, can't necessarily afford to travel abroad or as far as they might have before. So now they're traveling to Niagara as their tourist destination, being from Toronto, Brampton, wherever they're from, right?
Sure.
So we have a mix of both of those things happening at the same time. So it's really driving a lot of focus on entertainment and now investment to support that. We're seeing venues, even right now, the hotel in Niagara Falls is redoing their venue, right? To expand it, at the Hilton. So, and it's going to be twice the size, and they're rammed in there on a regular basis. It's all based on live music.
Okay.
From Niagara.
Yeah, that's good to hear. And I don't know if the location might resonate the same with you, but I feel like Niagara's almost like the Midwest kind of thing, where it comes to rap, anyways, or the hip hop genre. It's like a Midwestern thing. It's like they're there, but they're not really seen for what they're doing as well as they could be. Kind of like when Ludacris and all of them came from, like, as Nelly and all of those guys came out, they had their own brand of music, and like Nelly had the country grammar with all of that stuff, and the collaborations with Tim McGraw. So you know what I mean? There's possibilities for these genres to collaborate, and the work that you're doing is making that more possible. So I want to commend you guys for that.
Collabs would be better. And I don't think hip hop in Niagara gets the credit that it deserves. I mean, I'm certainly not a hip hop expert, but I can tell you that there's quite a hip hop scene, and our submissions have been heavily weighted towards hip hop over the last 2 seasons. And we were just recently at an event downtown St. Catharines, for one of the DJs who's recently passed, unfortunately. And that was some old school hip hop there representing, and the new school representing. And I mean, it was pretty sick scene.
Yeah, yeah, I could imagine. And like, it's unfortunate some of the things that have happened in recent history. We don't want to get too caught up in it, but we gotta definitely say RIP to DJ ITM. You know what I mean? That's that's an unfortunate situation. But I think what we can do for him is to make this scene more like what he was to it. Like he was always a fun loving guy, he liked to enjoy life, crack jokes and do all that kind of stuff. So if we can lighten up the mood in the industry and work more together, because he's worked with a lot of people. I've seen him on several different stages with several different artists that I never even thought, you know what I mean, he had any connection to. So like if we can continue doing that, then we're doing some form of justice for him. Oh man, okay.
And for each other. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to get all philosophical, but at the end of it all, I mean, it's all about love and respect.
Yes.
And if we do love and respect each other for who each other are, then we can accomplish amazing things. And we've gone out and we've done our little bit, but there's so much more that can be done, and there's so many people out there that are doing way more than we are. We just happen to get some of the attention sometimes. But these artists are out there hustling every single day, and beating down doors, and it's amazing. Like you can't be stopped if you decide that you're going there. And we've seen many people from the region accomplish those goals.
I mean, we have the likes of Swish Styles, who went from, like a lot of other Niagara artists just rapping in their basement to being on the stage with Redman and Method Man.
Yeah, yeah.
I
saw Swish Styles a couple months ago at the warehouse. For his show.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, you were there?
Yeah, I was there for the Anti-Hero release. We're scheduled to have him on the show in a couple weeks. So we're gonna have that conversation there. Talk to him about the concert and everything after the fact.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, look at Murder Beats. I mean, he's been involved with the Niagara Music Awards. He was mixing music in his basement in the Fort area. Now he's on top of the world.
Yeah, yeah. Fun fact, actually, Tudo Han used to work with Murder Beats before his claim or his rise to fame. So, there are connections under the ground underground that
Many of them. I mean, we could go on all day. Michael Howe, who's won the EDM award, he's was like right up there with all of the big EDM guys.
Yeah.
He's still here in Niagara, and he's actually been the ambassador for EDM and brought that EDM scene together to the Niagara Music Awards.
And we will talk more about those scenes when we get back on episode 209 of Candid Conversations. All right, we are back. Now, as you can see, we are here with Todd Brown and Dave Grant. I'm commending myself for not messing up your names.
No teleprompter.
No teleprompter, anything. I'm going by.
We got some cool stuff in this room.
No. This is all off the top.
Heavyweight belt.
Yeah. I mean, it gives me a reminder to shout out Me and the Boys Wrestling that you can see on youtube.com/@POEZ. James Owen Brown is another one of those artists, and I can't even call him a hip hop artist. He's a dynamic artist. He does a lot of different things with music. He performs as Dr. Volcano at the late night stage fright for Haunt Manor. He also has an album with Driving Under Insanity. It's a train album.
I think Howie Mandel's here.
Yeah. Bark Simpson just went on board. So there's a bunch of things that's going on in that regard, but the dog just threw me off for a second. That is the podcast that we do where real people use digital avatars to settle their differences. So when I started with it was season 3, he had like 8 characters. They were some of his boys, which is where the title came from, Me and the Boys. And it was just them wanting to see what it would be like if they were in the WWE. So they created the characters, threw it in there. But this guy is a storyteller of like he's just a storyteller. So he decided to kind of evolve, and then we talked season 3. He's like, okay, I'm looking for a few more characters to work with. So season 3 to season 4, I think we went like 15, 20. Season 4 till now, we're up to about 60 characters, and we're talking like, I mean, we've used pop culture iterations. Like we had a match with Donald Trump and Justin Trudeau open our last free review, and then
Who won?
no, actually no, I like Trudeau one. Thankfully, kind of, because you know what I mean. Who knows how that'll influence anything, but if it does, you know.
It's probably a wrestling tax that he implemented.
A fun tax. You're enjoying yourself too much. You must take something for it. But yeah, so we have a bunch of different characters on there, and we just put up a free preview, so check it out on youtube.com/@POEC. Check the Me and the Boys playlist. Also, snoop around on his channel. He's got all kinds of poetry and stuff. All right, shameless promotion. That's what we do.
You don't tell him, nobody will.
Exactly. I often say there was a time when the town crier was a noble position.
Yeah.
Nobody knew what was going on until someone came and yelled at them. Nowadays, you're just a lunatic.
Well, you tell them where to look, and then they decide if they want to look, right? That's up to them.
That's basically where it goes. Yeah. So, okay, we're gonna flip the script. And when I flip the script,
I do this part. This company.
yeah. When I flip the script, I give the guests the opportunity to be the host, so that they may make any statements they have or ask any questions that may have come up, you know, along the lines. So you guys have the floor as I flip the script.
Well, I don't really have any statement to say other than we are very happy to be part of the music scene. We feel very blessed to be included in that. And we're trying to bring as many eyeballs to the artists as we possibly can. And I would bet that if you're out there listening, you probably like music. And so the people that you're listening to and paying $200 and $300 a ticket to go see were local artists at some point. And I would suggest that, you know, once a month, once every 6 months, grab your husband, your wife, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your whatever you're into, and go and see some local music and pay $30 for a ticket and enjoy yourself, because there's a lot of amazing local music out there. And that's what you can do to support the scene. It's really that easy. If you can't make it out to a show once every year, then the least you could do is share the posts that are online, and that costs you nothing, and it takes you 1 second to do. So we can't accomplish this goal without everybody being involved. So get involved, do your part. It's a minimum part if that's all it takes. If you can get more involved, get more involved. But that's how we can grow this scene. So that would be my plea to the community.
I like that, and a very humble plea at that. It makes perfect sense. It's like you can't complain that you need the rope fixed and then complain when the construction's there. So if you're going to say that we need to do more, when there's more being done, you got to participate. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, it's really that simple. I mean, as great as these shows are that are happening at the warehouse,
Yeah.
you know, you go to them and there's sometimes 100 people there, right?
Yeah.
And there could easily be 200 people or 250. And when we did the Jelly Roll thing, and we were able to acquire some tickets that we sold at face value,
Yeah.
instead of marking them up on people so they could enjoy Jelly Roll at
Yeah.
a price they could afford.
Yeah.
And everybody messaging, oh, well, you know, I would pay that. Why don't we do a Niagara show? Why don't we do a Niagara show? Well, we do Niagara shows, and the artists are doing Niagara shows all the time.
Yeah.
That you can go to for $30 or $15.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, go and find them and get to them and make a little bit of effort to support them.
That's where it is. That's what it's got to be. We gotta start with the grassroots. The grass don't grow if you don't water it. You know what I mean? I'll pull the metaphors. You guys can do it.
I love that one because usually people say the grass is greener on the other side. I always say no, it's greener where you want.
Exactly.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So
Dave, what's your statement?
I mean, that was marking it right there. I would just say at the very least, with technology at our fingertips, that if you can't afford it, or you don't live in the city or the region or wherever you like your music, is to be able to like it, share it, leave a comment, support. Because years ago, you had to move to LA or you had to move to Nashville to make these shows true. And I think the more content that people are putting out there and the more support, you don't need to do that. You can do that when you get a call of a record label or the next steps moving forward. But I would just say it's, the music plays a lot of roles in tourism, branding, mental health, school, everything comes from the heart. People are writing this stuff, right? So it's just a way that it can bring people together and continue to make it grow and recognize our talents here in Niagara.
Yeah. Well, that's okay.
So you can follow us at Niagara Music Awards on Facebook, and you can like and share. We share lots of different events, and we try to promote and support what's happening in the region. And you can tell everybody about this great podcast. Thanks for having us on.
No problem. Candid Conversations. We are here with Todd Brown and Dave Grant. We are also going to have a replay of this show on Zeno.fm/CULCHASHOCKRADIO. That's Zeno.fm/Culture Shock Radio. We are brought to you in part by Explosive North, Culture Shock, and the Village Global Network. Village Global Network, we make the network. Be sure to come back after this break so we can get you more information on what's going on in the coming weeks of entertainment. We'll be back. All right, so we are back. Now, I know at the end of the year, I usually plan an event called the Celebration of Celebrations. And it is basically my effort to break stigmas and stereotypes when it comes to like partying and getting along and having fun. So like everybody celebrates something at some point. For the most part, I don't know any culture that doesn't have some major celebration annually. So why don't we just celebrate these celebrations in order to highlight how we can commune the positive energy from these things? Like I don't dress up for Diwali because I don't have the textiles, but I'll try to fast a little bit out of respect for it, just to understand the psychology and all of that stuff. So like when it comes to this celebration of celebrations, what I do is I collect content from around the world, and then some people appear live, some people have pre-recorded messages, and we play them from each time zone going from Australia to BC. Something like that. This is the 4th year that I've been doing it, and I think something like that in Niagara might increase the year-end tourism. I know they have the thing by the falls, but not everybody wants to stand out. I thought it was Scotiabank Convention Center. But without poking the hive, so to speak, like something like that. It's like it's more of a down to earth, at home kind of thing. So, what do you think it would take to, I want to say, create more synergy in the region for some of these events to actually be more fruitful?
That's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the synergy comes from everybody participating in the initiative. So it's a matter of awareness, first of all.
Yeah.
So I think that on a macro level, that's starting to happen. I think that as a whole, Niagara is starting to operate more together than separate.
Mm-hmm.
But in the past, it hasn't always been that way. There's been lots of silos. So I think that's part one on the macro. I think two is on the macro again, the initiatives like a Music City, which is a big initiative to try to promote grassroots up and to bring people that have already made it back, right? So you're pulling from both sides. Oh, we have another thing.
Yeah, it's like a regular It's like a Disney house here sometimes.
And then on a micro level, like if you're talking about a specific event like you are,
Yeah.
then I mean that's just a matter of you reaching out to maybe some of the people that are influential in those different communities,
Okay.
sharing that concept with them and why it would be important for their particular culture to be involved in this and what value that brings to them being a part of Niagara.
Okay.
And then what I found is that that ambassador will do everything else. They'll go back to the community and they'll bring the community to the hub
Okay.
because there's a value to them.
Yeah.
And then this community gains, this community gains, this community gains, and then it's just a matter of having them housed inside of a venue somewhere.
Yeah.
And I think you could easily pull off something like that because that seems to me like a pretty good initiative. And why wouldn't they want to be involved in something like that?
All right. All right.
I mean, anytime their culture can be showcased, that's going to be something that they're probably not able to accomplish outside of their community now.
Yeah. Well, I said it about live streaming. No, not live streaming. I said it about streaming services, how they are going to take over the cable networks, and now cable networks are putting this stuff on streaming services. But I think live streams are now going to replace some of these streaming services where people are looking for real-time entertainment, real-time activities that are happening. And if something like this is like something like this, or even the Niagara Music Awards is live streamed, then more people will have attention on it, and then they'll be able to, even the following year, years thereafter, attend it because they have more attention on it.
For sure. So March is the live event. So we'll have Niagara Music Week, which will be a week of events leading up to it. And then Sunday will be the Red Carpet Gala. It will be live streamed.
Okay.
And if you are out there and you're sitting there and you want to click whatever comes next, then you can go and check out the one that we did online during COVID.
Yeah.
So it's Niagara Music Awards on YouTube,
Yeah.
and it's like a Netflix production.
Yeah,
So I think you'll be happy with what you see, and you can check out what it is that we're doing. I would agree with you that I think that one of the concepts I have in my mind that I think I'm not well versed enough about
Okay.
is that if there was a hub for these types of live streams for Niagara specifically, I think there's a lot of great content that we could take to the world by organizing that through an organized type studio.
Yeah.
Where people knew, oh, I go look there and then I find this podcast, this live stream, and they have one place to look instead of trying to find it all over the place.
That's the kind of structure we have with the Village Global Network, where we have an application that you can find up to, I believe it's like 30, 40 different brands of content for.
Okay.
So, like I'm one of them. I have my own channel basically on there, and I have a banner that people can click that goes to my website. It shows everything that I'm doing, but it also has like a radio player that will play the content from each of the radio stations, kind of thing. I can click on that. So there are things like that, but not specifically for Niagara, which would be beneficial to them.
Yeah, I mean, step one is it could be all from Niagara. Step two could be that maybe somebody takes pieces of each of that content and makes a show from that. So that it's clips of interesting things that happen on podcasts. It's some live music. It's maybe some news of what happened that day in Niagara. And you almost become the online version of like, a CHCH or a City TV,
Yeah.
but for Niagara because it doesn't exist.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting.
There you go. If you're out there, take that one, run with it. Just have us on the show, everyone.
You know what I mean? You got to give cameos to the people that gave you the ideas. I mean, I got to give credit where credit's due. This is my secondary podcast. I do the 12 Effect on Saturdays at 12.
Oh, we're on the B podcast.
No, it is like my primary podcast for talking to people.
We did well enough to get invited to the A-League.
You know what? I'd like to see this, actually. If you guys want to come back for the Terrell Effect, I'd like to see some of the nominees, or some of the music from the nominees that we could actually play and feature on the show. And then we could do it that way. But we got minutes to break, so I got to give you the quick rundown that the Terrell Effect and Candid Conversations are part of Explosive North and the Culture Shock umbrella. Be sure to check out youtube.com/@EXPOSETHENORTH Exposed the North 8741 on YouTube is where you can find the Thrill Effect, Candid Conversations, on locations, and other events that we are part of, like the Afro Caribbean Festival, for example. So, yeah, let us revisit some of what we discussed when we come back. 35. All right, so we are back. Now, this is the last segment where people apparently like to scream in the background. It gets real in the field. Uh, you never know what's going to happen on the live stream. You kind of just got to run with it sometimes. It's like, hey, don't worry, there's no one being murdered in the background. I can promise you that.
The second year that we did the awards,
Yeah.
I had a different partner who was involved, and they were responsible for all of the videos, as you've seen, that come up, like the nominees are, and here's their stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so we got there and we did our run through, and none of the videos worked. So that was a live show, as you know. So yeah, so I did, because I basically hosted it to get through it because it was so terrible.
Yeah.
So we did all of the entire show without any video content. Oh yeah, it was horrible.
Oh,
that's what happens sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like, how do you bounce back from that? Like, you go and tell someone, like, there's no way to.
Well, this was like 10, 15 years ago. So we were just getting started, right? So fortunately, there wasn't, we had the newspaper there. That's how old I'm talking about. Right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
It wasn't too bad for us, but live shows are always interesting.
Oh, I can imagine. Oh, we got some comments here. The very least people can do is share. That's from Fallon Shaw. Yeah, Fallon's an avid artist, definitely advocate of the community. Hey, how's it going? So, with this being said, okay, March is Niagara Music Week.
Yep.
Looking forward to that. Now, how can people apply to participate, or what are you looking for that?
Yeah, so there's not much they can do now, unfortunately. So, but this is going to be a celebration of Niagara. So, celebration of Niagara is the theme. So we're really throwing it back. We're going to have some major names that have come from Niagara that have made it out of Niagara that are going to come back. We're recognizing Rez for a lifetime achievement in the EDM space. And we're going to have live performances from all previous winners this year.
Okay.
So what we normally do is we have all live performances from the current nominees.
Yeah.
Right. So this year we're going to have all previous winners.
Okay.
So we can really showcase that Niagara region has arrived. These are the people that have made it out of Niagara, and this is what we can aspire to become.
Okay.
And we're going to showcase the different businesses throughout Niagara. We're going to showcase some of the venues, obviously, throughout Niagara. And we have some great sponsors who have come on to support it as well. And I mean, we don't want to burden your listeners with all our sponsors, but I mean, we couldn't exist without them. So we're very appreciative for the city of Niagara Falls and the hoteliers in Niagara Falls, BCM right here in Welland, great insurance company, family operated. So we're very lucky to have G3 Photography every year since we started this. Mike came to see me and he said, I'm going to be your photographer. And here we are 10, 12 years later, and he's still shooting everything. Phenomenal. So we're blessed to have some amazing people to support us.
Well, it's no burden. I was actually going to say, is there anybody you'd like to give credit to or thanks for helping you guys along the way to making these accomplishments?
For sure, there's lots of people that came before us, right? So there's people that started the Niagara Music Awards and ran it till year 4. We didn't take over till year 5. I mean, way back then, the Cressman brothers ran the newspapers, and we wouldn't have taken over the awards if they didn't support us then with newspaper advertising. I mean, there's so many people along the way. John Law, I mean, the guy's supported he supports entertainment probably more than anybody in Niagara as far as his coverage through the Welland Tribune and the Niagara Falls Review. He's always showcasing local talent. The people that run the venues like the Warehouse, I mean, all the different venues that support us. I mean, the convention center has supported us, which is an initiative that they don't have to do because they're very busy. But because it's a community event, they're supportive of us, all the hoteliers in Niagara Falls, the city of Niagara Falls. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on. So I apologize if I haven't shouted you out because there's been so many along the way.
It's good to hear. No, that and in hearing this, more people realize as much as you guys are like the faces of what we're talking about right now, that there's more body to it with all these other people. It's like the credits rolling in a movie theater. Like you never realize how much goes into it until you see all those names, and it's like, wow, we got all of you people to do all of this because of all of these people. You know what I mean? And it's commendable to
and I mean on the grassroots side, the people that don't get enough credit are the ambassadors, the people that are in the hip hop scene, the people that are in the punk rock scene, that are going to their scene and saying, "Hey guys, this is a worthwhile thing for us to spend our time and effort on." And I mean, they don't have to do that. They're putting their own credibility on the line when they're representing themselves in those communities, right? So big shout out to all of our supporters and our ambassadors, because the Niagara Music Awards wouldn't exist if people didn't choose for it to exist, right? I mean, it doesn't have an agenda otherwise, but other than to recognize that local talent and bring eyeballs to those artists. So, I mean, we understand that. I hope we still have doubters out there. We're happy. We never delete our comments on our Facebook, social media. If you want to comment, put a comment out there. I will talk to anybody who wants to talk to us. We genuinely believe that together we can accomplish more. So if you think you can bring value to the table, come on, let's talk, let's work together, and let's build this thing.
Yeah. All right.
I got all heated.
That was good. I was feeling the passion right there. Let's go Niagara. And you see, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, the driving sport is like a lot of drive to what you're doing. I can feel the passion and having this conversation with you now. Like, you know what I mean? I can see more as to why you do it. It's like it's like it seems like it drives you to better the region, and like
it's in me. I just think like it needs more than what we can even give it, right?
Yeah.
So because it's not, I mean, we do pretty well for ourselves, but we're not, billionaires. Like we can't just say, okay, this is all we're going to do. I have to run my companies. I have to do the things I have to do to pay my bills and live my life.
Yeah.
So we are saying we don't give it as much attention as it needs, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, the more people that can get involved and drive it where it should be. I mean, this should be even 10 times bigger, 100 times bigger, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's happening, but it's taken 10 years to get here, right?
Well, if the people who have naysay actually put a percentage of their energy from the naysay into the soothsay, they'd be accomplishing more.
Yeah. And I mean, I don't want you to not ask. What I'm encouraging them to do is the naysayers, they don't have that much information. So ask, find out, right? If you question, whatever, where did this sponsor come from? Like, we have all kinds of things that people say about us. Like, this guy their company was a sponsor, and the person that his cousin's uncle won one of the awards. Well, they must be connected. Like, come on, it's a small world, right?
I'll say this. I often tell people when it comes to my ignorance, the best way to combat it is with information. So.
You're an open book, so we are 100% open. You want to ask, you want to talk, come on anytime. But we really genuinely believe in this, and we think it can be something phenomenal.
Well, that's awesome, and let's work towards that as a group and make sure we put the energies where they need to go. This has been a great conversation, but we're gonna have to wrap it up. This has been episode 209 of Candid Conversation, season 1, episode 7, I believe, if the numbers are correct. I'm telling you, just like one of those little things that just go beside it, so I know exactly what's going on. But for now, I'll thank my lady Shades for keeping me on time, and we will revisit this another time. I gotta roll the credits now. I don't have my outro yet, so you guys are gonna have to bear with me as I just do this thing right here, because adds for a little bit of comedic value. All right. All the best.